are the writing tips you need to learn how to add 5 key plot devices into your story. Join me on my journey toward learning how to write good characters, world building my own story, as well as providing upcoming fantasy writers, authors, and storytellers with all the writing tips they need to make their book or story stand out from all the rest. What is up, you muffin munching muggles? Welcome to Fiction and Reality, where we help you, yes, you, become the most deliciously gifted human that you know you are and that you knew you always could be. You need plot devices.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it.
Now, why, you ask? Well, to keep the story spurring and varying every which way. What triumphs will your characters share? What ventures or journeys will be spun out of those crusades to reach vital milestones? We'll start with the red herring, but understand that this device sets the rhythm of your story, intensifies escalation toward the turning point in exposition, the constellation of dots interconnecting the transformation from one act to another. So what exactly is the red herring? Well, it's a false clue or misleading hint or element you sprinkle into your story to distract the audience from the truth at hand. It's not limited to your characters being affected either. Ever seen The Promised Neverland? Rip Connie. You know the usual aliens eating kids after they're fattened up like farm animals? In The Promised Neverland, we're introduced to the caretakers who wear this facade of beloved foster mothers, with Isabella serving as the mom and Grace Field. However, they're more than they appear on the surface. The audience later finds out these caretakers are actually people who nurture the children like plump pigs until these alien-like creatures are ready to devour them at a ripe young age. Now, that's not to say that the caretakers didn't care about them. Sometimes they just showed their love in unique ways. Ooh. Guess that's what happens when you try to escape Big Mama's house. Using the red herring can attenuate the plot of your story, but rope your audience into sprawling strings of mystery. What keeps the reader hooked within The Promised Neverland is the revelation of finding out that the children were food, being shipped out at the ripe young age of 6 and not actually leaving to be adopted, but rather because they were ripe for harvest. Other than the red herring, there's of course Chekhov's gun. So what is Chekhov's gun? Well, it's the rule that if you show some object or element early in the story, it must serve some vital purpose later. It clicks on the tails of mystery and rolls the bells of curiosity for the audience or reader, keeping them funneling within the glass bulb of anticipation. Whatever device you use, the stepwise escalation is usually cryptic and subtle. I'm sure everyone's read the Percy Jackson books and maybe even watched some of the movies. I remember in the movies you'll see Percy get attacked by a fairy, then afterwards is given a pin by Chiron, which seems to be a pin and nothing more at first. Then we later find out that the pin he's been packing in his pants is a really big sword. The rule of Chekhov's gun: every element that's introduced in your story should be necessary to your plot. Wherever you slot in the reveal, of course, that's your own decision to make. But if you peel back that layer and pull the pin of escalation just at the right moment, it takes advantage of all the mounting anticipation and explodes it in one single burst. Chekhov's gun isn't just a rule about objects or weapons, it's a philosophy about storytelling itself. Every choice you make, every detail you plant is a silent promise to your audience that it will matter. Whether it's a sword disguised as a pin, a whispered secret, or a glance that lingers a little too long, these hidden seeds grow beneath the surface, shaping the story's momentum without the audience even realizing it. And even when you finally peel back that layer at just the right moment, when the pen becomes a sword that changes everything, you're not just surprising your audience, you're fulfilling the silent contracts between writer and reader. Nothing is wasted. Everything matters, and when the time comes, it will hit with all the weight of everything they've been holding their breath for. Other than pulling out the blicky and spraying your audience with Chekhov's gun, another plot device that can transform your story is MacGuffin. No, I didn't say muffins or cupcakes.
Oh, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
Yes, you were, EDP. Yes, you were. All this talk about cupcakes, it must be like making you hungry, right? Perhaps you'll feel appetized if you like the video. If you're enjoying the video so far, take a moment to hit that like button below and show some love. Do it. Do it. MacGuffin is a plot device that drives the story forward, but in reality, it's insignificant to the actual story itself.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
For example, those bulbous glowing dragon balls that Goku and the Z-Fighters are always after, right? I think many of us would say that the key points of the plot within Dragon Ball are embedded in each character's prerogative for chasing the Dragon Balls. In other words, the chase itself, which breeds insurmountable obstacles that force them to push their limits and realize the cost of life until they're revived. Either they chase these Dragon Balls for their own desires, which sometimes ends up like this, or protect them against racist villains who want to make wishes that are guaranteed to turn the world into a hell pit.
Hello, monkeys!
So other than a genocidal maniac wanting world dominion, more than the wishes that the Dragon Balls themselves grant, their journey to attain them unearths another side of Goku in lieu of watching Krillin, his childhood friend, be killed at the hands of Frieza. Or a journey where Vegeta uncovered that his pride was worth more than surviving under Frieza's reign, the galactic tyrant who reduced planet Vegeta to dust within mere seconds, which likely spurred his ambition to become immortal. The Dragon Balls perfectly capture the essence of the MacGuffin, an object that drives the plot without ever being the true point of the story. It's not the wishes themselves that define Dragon Ball, it's the struggles, transformations, and sacrifices that happen along the way. The Dragon Ball set the story in motion, but the heart of the narrative lives in how the characters break, grow, and fight for something greater than a simple reward. That's the genius of the McGuffin method. The object doesn't matter, the chase reveals who the characters truly are. Other than punching yourselves in the Dragon Balls, there lives another literary device by the name of Deus Ex Machina. It occurs when an unexpected power event suddenly solves a bigger problem. Remember in Attack on Titan, there was a time frame where the audience had absolutely no clue what the Founding Titans' powers encompassed until we found Eren, Mikasa, and the scouts surrounded in a field of Titans, following Hans being eaten alive by Dina, the Smiling Titan. And of course, Attack on Titan wouldn't be itself without a love confession amongst chaos. A few seconds after watching your boy get chewed to bits, Eren bricks up, locks in, and faces the Titan with unrelenting courage, almost seemingly accepting death, even if it meant fighting a losing battle to the very end. We then see all the Titans that were surrounding the scouts, due to the power of the Founding within Eren, adhere to his command by ripping into the Smiling Titan. And even in Berthold and Reiner's pursuit of Eren, these Titans veered the course to keep the traitors at bay. Many of the scouts themselves, along with the audience, are left somewhat stricken by what Eren actually just did, as no one up to that point of the story ever conceived that the Founding Titan could force pure Titans to bend to its will, or for that matter understood what lied at the crux of its power. In Eren's case, the hand of fate simply didn't rescue him. It revealed the price of surviving in a world where true power comes with true consequence. The lesson is somewhat timeless. Sometimes the forces that save us aren't miracles, they're hidden responsibilities we don't yet understand. And in that moment, both Eren and the audience realized this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about destiny, duty, and the devastating weight of power awakened too soon. The responsibilities of the Founding Titan were the result of generations of torment and suffering, everything all to converge at one point in one person, Eren Yeager. Other than Deus Ex Machina, a surefire way to sprinkle some tokens of novelty into your story is through foreshadowing. Foreshadowing occurs when an author hints at or suggests events that will happen later in the story. It's a way to create anticipation, suspense, and build tension by subtly suggesting future plot developments without revealing the outcome. One Piece tends to have a lot of foreshadowing surrounding its tumultuous journeys, sort of embedded in its dreams. We got Zoro dreaming of becoming the greatest swordsman, and even tanks a strike for Mihawk to defend his honor as a swordsman, Usopp proclaiming that he's going to be a brave warrior of the seas, and Luffy staking his place on the throne of the king of the pirates. Each of these small moments, even like Shanks betting on the future by sacrificing his arm for Luffy and scaring off the sea monster using Haki before we ever even knew what Haki was, or even Nami mentioning her hatred of pirates and later discovering her entrapment to Arlong. They might seem like simple things at first, but they quietly plant seeds in the audience's minds, building expectation without spelling everything out. When the full payoff comes later, like Nami freeing herself from the village of Arlong, or Luffy becoming an agent of change, it feels earned, not random or forced. Readers are rewarded for paying attention, even if they didn't realize those clues mattered at the time. Foreshadowing like this makes the world feel alive, the characters feel consistent, and the story feel inevitable, yet surprising at the same time. It's about quietly guiding the reader's heart toward a future payoff. If you took something from this video, I want you to take a moment to crack that subscribe button below and like the video. Like the video. It pushes these videos out so that others can take the key tokens that you gain. So do your fellow comrades a favor. The direction of progress is forward, and it's only up from here. I will leave a link of my socials in the description below. If you want more info on how to improve your story, feel free to check out some of my other videos by clicking right here. Writers, world builders, and storytellers aiming to perfect writing techniques and enhance their storytelling and world building are all welcome. And with that, remember, if ever you're lost in a forestry of words, strip your mind from fantasy and look to the window of the world, and there your mind will run free.